Hey everybody, welcome to Punk Law 101. My name is Walter. I know I don't look like an attorney, but I happen to be one. I swear. You can go look. You go look up at the New Jersey and the New York bar. I'm actually a part of both. Don't know how that happened. Today we are talking about Amber Heard, day 3 of Amber Heard's direct testimony. I know, right? We're down to 3 days of Amber Heard. I think this would be a good point to start with how I felt about her first 2 days of testimony. It's been a week and a half since we last saw Miss Amber Heard, and back then it seemed like a bit of the overdramatic, kind of like my style of comedy. But nonetheless, it was how would I say we were lingering on wanting more evidence, right? She talked about a few very horrendous assaults, DV cases, or at least DV allegations, right? She talked about, back then, she talked about the Australia incident, her first time getting hit by Johnny Depp, allegedly, and so much more. But again, it came up very, not even rehearsed, but over the top. It seemed all over the place. She was remembering weird details that really, and again, very little corroborating evidence to any of her testimony at the time. Not a lot put in the record as far as supporting what she was alleging Johnny Depp did. So we've been off for a week and a half. We come back, and what do we see? Well. Let me transition to oh yes, the lovely 3-frame. Let me make sure everything's running on all cylinders, if you will. Okay. It's easy. Okay. Do. Probably shouldn't sing that, right? All right, we are rolling. Okay. All right. Good. I do believe we have that going for us. All right. So. Yeah, she came back. It's the Amber Heard dressed as Dr. Evil. I don't mind the look if you're trying to go for supervillain, trying to take over the world. It might not really fly with a jury trying to, support your allegations of domestic assault and sexual abuse. This was kind of an interesting day. It felt like they tried starting to retcon some of the testimony from last week or 2 weeks ago. It felt like they took their 10-day break and they said, well, what did we screw up last time and what can we get in under the wire? They kind of corrected a couple of little things. I felt like they overcorrected on stupid things, like the guitar thing. They focus on, did you play the guitar in a movie? Who cares? Who cares about the guitar thing? You're worrying about like what people care about on the internet? I mean, I guess, but I didn't understand the whole thing they went to as far as her being able to play the guitar, whether she played it in a movie. It didn't seem like that was pertinent. Like, I didn't quite understand why they were going that route, other than to try and rehabilitate some of her testimony. Again, they retconned quite a few little things, and it just never kind of. They didn't go back into Australia, thankfully, because that was a bit of a horrendous mess. They did testify. They did talk a little bit more about the James Gordon appearance, and then they got more into the May. Oh, the poopy incident, right? When she pooped on the bed, she says she did not poop on the bed. That would not be funny. I'm like, honestly, lady, if you admitted to pooping on the bed, I'd probably be supporting you right now. If she came out and was like, I'm Amber Heard and I pooped on Johnny Depp's bed, I would be like, you know what? She got points. I would listen, man. If I was a domestic assault victim and like my one shot, this guy was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna shit in the bed," I would be like, you know what? Like, hey, that's an excuse. He beat the fuck out of you. He did all this stuff to you. All right, shit in the man's bed. But if you're trying to like run away from that and trying to blame it on like little tiny teacup doggies, like Yorkies, I'm like, I feel like the dogs are gonna be a little offended here. All the teacup Yorkies out there being like, we can't even do that. That's outside of our jurisdiction. It's too much Yorkie poo. By the way, Yorkie poo was my nickname in high school. She goes into going to Coachella, her fight with Johnny Depp on her birthday for him being late. And again, her testimony about that did not line up with his, obviously. And clearly she was upset about him showing up late. About to the party, which I guess, like, I get being upset, and I guess if this is somebody who you've had to walk on eggshells around, if you're Johnny Depp, it kind of makes sense that this would set her off. On the reverse end, again, he was doing it was a business deal, it was their money, or at least, if you're married and you're in this situation, it's you're really kind of talking about each other's money at this point. He's trying to take care of business, as you will. I'm gonna try and find. They went into an email or text message that I actually didn't think helped her, where it actually was Johnny Depp asking for saying that he was looking. Was this it? No, this was. Oh, so they actually brought up the RN notes, right? So again, it felt like they were retconning a lot of different testimony now. People, I think, part of the question was did she discuss her testimony over the break with her attorneys? I don't think we'll ever really find out. It did feel like initially, I think a lot of people's butt puckered a little bit at that, because it did kind of get a little weird there, where everybody's going like, wait a second, what's going on? Why is she, why are they allowed to, like, it seemed like her testimony changed, her demeanor changed, and again, they were trying to retcon things. Elaine led off with a leading question just to start the day, and then continued to do that throughout the day, because that's Elaine Bredehoff's MO. In fact, I think there was a point where there were 6 objections that were sustained in a row. I think Camille Vasquez was mad. I think she clearly could tell that there was some discussion about the testimony over break when you weren't supposed to do it. And I think she wasn't going to let them get an inch at this point. I think, she made some pretty clear objections. And again, I think she threw Bredehoff for a loop. Bredehoff, oh, listen, Elaine, you got to stop huffing and puffing. It just makes you look bad. That's your audience, and your audience is seeing you suffer. They see you going, like, they don't want to see you do that. This jury is your audience. They want to see you have confidence. And honestly, confidence is what we saw when Camille Vasquez came up to do cross. Now, I'll talk about Camille Vasquez in a little bit, because I was a very big fan of her cross-examination. They went over the RN notes, and I think a couple of times they tried hammering home that some of these notes might not always be correct. Again, they were trying to rebut a lot of the notes that were in here. I guess they were trying to get out in front of it. I was shocked because it initially I think if Heard's testimony, if her direct had ended before the 10-day break, I think it would not have gone down this way. I don't think they would have tried to course correct. I think they would have skipped over and glazed over a lot. I think they realized over the 10 days that they really had to get out in front of some of the audio, some of the medical records, including this medical record here by her personal RN that says that she had a previous, I believe. Oh, this was about the Coachella incident, 5/11/16. But they did go over a little bit of the nurse's notes regarding the intake. Let me see if it's here. They might. I know they talked about the intake. Yeah, here it is. The intake. Amber Heard reports history of substance abuse, including addiction to cocaine and liquor. They wanted to address that right away. It was weird because she really has downplayed the cocaine element in her story. I think she's realizing that it's pretty public right now that there's no way that she hasn't done cocaine. I think she even had a co-star who came out, or a former, I don't want to say co-star, but another actor who came out and said that he saw her do cocaine while they were on the set of Never Back Down. Now, that's not going to get introduced into this case, but it is kind of interesting just to kind of focus on and point out that was, I would argue, like a legit question that they were having about this case. Let's see where this is. I just don't get the strategy sometimes. Sometimes they have very good strategy. I think her lawyers have shown moments where they have good strategy and then they get stuck behind the weeds a little bit. We saw that on cross-examination of Johnny Depp and a lot of his witnesses. And then on the reverse end, she seems to constantly want to be telling her side of the story, what she wants out there. She wants to dictate the terms of where they're going. I wasn't, I thought she looked a little better, although apparently the report, I think the problem is when you've had 2 days of testimony and the jury already has tuned out your testimony. From what I've been hearing as far as reports from the interwebs was people are not buying it. The jury's checking out a lot of the time with her testimony. She did mention that she spent over $6 million on this lawsuit for attorneys. And again, I think they get into some good arguments though about the article, particularly about that, she was reporting abuse. Again, they try to tap into that a little bit. They tap into the whole title thing. So I think they tried to almost end off on, hey, yeah, maybe all this stuff's true or not true, but really, was she talking about Johnny Depp? I think the mistake that she made is she actually said, oh, it's not about Johnny, it's about me. Only Johnny thinks it's about Johnny. But she literally started out her testimony on Wednesday 2 weeks ago saying, I wrote an op-ed about my ex, Johnny Depp. You're not getting away from that now. You've said it, you've gone both ways on this. You can't back out now, lady. I'm sorry. I wish you could. I mean, I really don't care either direction on that. That being said, I don't think she's doing I think her case was doing a lot better until our good friend Camille Vasquez showed up. And I'm going to tell you right now, gold. This person knows what she's doing. I went to law school with a lot of people who are quite like her. Very smart, very she went and she held her own right here. It could be intimidating. Amber Heard's been on the stand for 3 days. Maybe she's finally getting her sea legs now, finally getting used to it. Camille seemed a little nervous in the beginning, but then all of a sudden she started rocking it out. I'm going to play a little bit of her cross right here.
So, sorry, just so I understand better, there were several incidents in March. Which one are you asking me about?
The time that he hit you several times in the face wearing rings.
Well, he pretty much always...
March of 2013.
And I love this.
Right.
I love where she's going with
What are you asking me? I'm sorry.
Because she's going to go
he was wearing
after
rings
each
on
of
that
these
occasion?
pictures that
I
Amber
pretty
Heard
much
has
always knew him
provided,
to wear
which
rings.
She has not provided
Let's
very
please pull
much.
up Defendant's Exhibit
And she's
170A,
going to take those apart.
which is already in evidence, Your Honor.
That she's alleging some pretty horrendous acts have happened.
You testified that this is the picture you took
no
after that
medical
incident, right, Ms. Heard?
Saying that any of this
Yes,
happened.
that was one where he
No
grabbed me.
pictures of some, even though she's taken
And hit you in the
half dozen
face so many
pictures of
times that
Johnny
you don't
Depp
remember.
Sleeping, and
that
that was one of
correct?
my favorite
That's
points.
correct.
There's a point that I saw early
And there's
on
no
in
injuries
this.
to your face in this picture, are there?
Not that
This is something
this
that I think a
picture
lot of people
shows.
pointed out. She's sitting
And there's
there
no
talking
medical
about,
records reflecting that you sought treatment after this alleged incident either.
She's talking about how I got hit in
I
the
did not
face, and all
seek
we're seeing
medical
is a
treatment
bruise
at
on
this
her
time.
arm.
So there's no
This is
medical records
supposedly
reflecting any
when
injuries to your
when
face
they
after
shared this
he
picture,
hit you
when she
several
was
times.
testifying,
I did not need to
this
go to the
was
doctor
Johnny
at the
Depp
time.
had hit her in the face so hard.
Despite hitting
there
you
was
several
blood
times
splatter.
that you lost count with rings on your on his fingers.
That's correct. I did not seek medical attention, other than my therapist.
You testified to another incident in March of 2013 where Mr. Depp hit you while he was wearing a lot of rings. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified you felt like your lip went through your teeth and it got a little blood on the wall.
Yes, I remember that.
There isn't a picture of you with injuries after that alleged incident, is there?
I don't know if I've seen one. I can't recall. There are a lot of pictures.
You didn't produce any photographs after that alleged incident, did you, Ms.
I don't
Heard?
know if I took one or if it's included. I'm not quite sure which ones.
You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that alleged incident that your lip went into your teeth. You don't remember that, right? You didn't show any pictures to this jury after describing that incident,
They go after this. They
right?
go after the medical.
I don't believe
they
I've
go
seen
after
that picture
dental.
admitted.
They say, hey, did you go for any kind of reconstructive surgery?
That picture doesn't exist.
I don't know which one you're talking about. We have pictures from March 2013, yes.
The only picture that you've produced and shown to this jury is the one that was just put up on the screen where you said he hit you multiple times in the face, and you appear to have what is a bruise on your arm, correct?
I believe this is the only picture that's in evidence right now.
That's the only picture you've shown to this jury from March 2013, correct?
I believe so.
And this is the problem, right?
You testified about an incident in Russia on or about June 26, 2013. Do you remember that?
Not being specific with the dates.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified that Mr. Depp, quote, whacked you in the face.
1 minute, it started sounding like she only got hit once in March.
And you went to the bathroom
there's
after
a lot of
that, right?
retconning that
I
goes
did.
on.
And then,
in fact, there was
according to your
a little bit of
testimony,
retconning that
when
happened.
you came out of the bathroom,
sometimes I wonder if
jury
Amber Heard's
judge,
testimony
Mr. Depp's
is for
security
the
guard,
jury
who's passed away,
or for
pointed out that your
people
nose was
outside the jury,
bleeding,
because there was a lot
right?
of talk about the TMZ
He did that in the
picture that got
hallway.
released.
You said you hadn't known
This
that your
one
nose was
the
bleeding
metadata
until
said
jury
that
judge
it was
pointed it
taken
out
in
to you.
2012. Now all of a
Yes,
sudden
that's
she
correct.
comes
I
back
was
today.
unaware until he brought
She's
it up
saying,
to me.
"Oh, well,
I didn't see it when I
actually,
was in the
remember
bathroom, but I wasn't
correctly after
looking.
looking at my therapist's
So
notes.
it's your
It happened in
testimony that you
2012.
went into
It
the
just seems like
bathroom
there's a lot of retconning.
and didn't look in the mirror, which I assume was in the bathroom, to notice that your nose was bleeding?
That's not why I went into the bathroom. I went into the bathroom crying. I don't even know if I paid attention to the mirror. I certainly didn't enough to notice any blood.
And you didn't take any pictures of your bloody nose either, did you?
I did not.
But pictures were taken of you in Russia, though. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We had a press or a dinner.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1248.
And this is the thing. She has testified so far. She broke her
Ms.
nose
Heard,
twice.
this
Now,
is a
again,
picture of you and Mr. Depp
maybe
in
she
Russia.
Maybe thinks
Correct?
everything is a little
That's
more
correct.
dramatic. But when you
gonna
said
move to
multiple
admit.
times you've broken your nose and you've
No,
gone
no
for no
objection.
reconstructive
1, 2,
surgery, you
4,
didn't
8
go to a
evidence. You
doctor
can
that
publish.
told you you had broke your nose.
And this is you and
kinda
Mr.
gets
Depp in
lost
Russia
the
for the
jury.
Lone Ranger premiere, correct?
It was a dinner function, I believe, in promotion of the movie. Wasn't the premiere, if I recall.
You don't have any visible injuries to your face, do you?
None that you can see.
Let's look at Plaintiff's Exhibit 1249. This is a picture of you, isn't it right?
That's correct.
I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 1249.
All right, 1249 in evidence.
Elaine Bredehoff does not have her microphone.
This is also
very
a
well
picture from
tuned
when
on
you were
this.
in Russia for the
Barely
Lone
hear
Ranger
her.
premiere, right?
That is correct.
And you have no visible injuries to your face, do you?
Again,
None that you can see.
this is,
Even though Mr. Depp
I've
whacked
said
you in
it
the face
before, I'll
so
say it
hard
again,
that your
Johnny
nose
Depp's
bled?
team is like
He
it's
did.
a clinic on how to
While
be a good
wearing
attorney,
chunky big
how to
rings,
argue,
right?
how to prep a case, how
That's
to
correct.
structure an argument. Even when they aren't knocking it 100% out of the park, they're not fumbling anything. They are looking good, and they look good here. And Camille Vasquez, I think, walks.
You also
out of this
testified that Mr.
day
Depp,
looking
again,
pretty
whacked you in the
amazing.
face after the Met Gala in May of 2014, right?
That is correct.
You testified that you thought he hit you so hard he broke your nose.
That's correct.
You said your nose was, quote, swollen, discolored, red.
That is correct. I took a picture of that.
You testified you took a picture of your face after this.
I did.
But you didn't show that picture to the jury, did you?
I would like to.
But you didn't show it, did you?
That's not up to me.
Who's it up to?
You understand you were under an obligation to produce all photographs after any alleged incidents of violence, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
You didn't produce any photographs after the Met Gala.
I produced everything.
And see, this is where
You also understand that you're under an obligation to produce all medical records reflecting any injuries you allegedly sustained from Mr. Depp, correct?
That's correct.
And you haven't produced any pictures or any medical records reflecting a broken nose after the Met Gala in May of 2014, have you?
I have given everything to my lawyers. Everything. I've turned over literally everything that I have.
Is it your testimony, Ms. Heard, that you sought medical treatment after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose after the Met Gala?
Not after the Met Gala. I did not seek medical attention, no.
You
You're an
also
actress,
attended
but
an
you didn't see
event after the Met Gala in May of 2014, didn't you?
That is correct.
And you went to the All-Star Comedy Tribute to Don Rickles.
That is correct.
That was the next night after the Met Gala.
That is correct.
And there were pictures of you taken at this event.
Yes.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1252. This is a picture of you, Miss Heard,
Yes, it is.
at that event.
Actually,
Yes,
this
it
a
is.
picture
The
of
night
Johnny Depp
after
on
the
our
Met Gala?
picture.
Yes, it is.
The
They'll
night
publish
after
it
Mr.
in
Depp
a-
allegedly broke your nose?
Don Rickles will be in this picture.
I'm not sure if
folks.
it was broken, for the record, but yeah, you should see what it looked like underneath the makeup.
He whacked you so hard in the face that you thought you had broken your nose.
Exactly.
Right. Permission to admit this photograph?
All right, 1252
Nickelback is
in evidence.
Yeah.
This is a picture of
I mean, her
you,
nose looks
Mr.
even
Depp,
smaller
and Don
here than it does
Rickles,
in other
right?
pictures, actually.
That
I'm
is
not-
correct.
Not quite sure what we're looking at. Johnny Depp also looks kind of old.
Let's
in
please
this
pull
picture.
up Plaintiff's Exhibit
Almost older than
1253.
he does now. Again, it's surgical here.
This is another
That's what
picture
Camille's doing.
from
She's
that
walking
evening,
in,
right, Ms. Heard?
saying, I'm going to go ahead.
Yes, it
pick
is.
you
Permission
apart,
to
asking
admit
a question
Exhibit
that she already knows the answer to.
1253 and publish it.
All right, so moved. 1253 in evidence.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp at the event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he had broken your nose.
He did whack me in the face, and I did think it broke my nose.
And this is you the night after.
Yes, it is.
I do think that it's interesting, the age juxtaposition, because they're both very young. Well, very young
please
by
pull
different
up
standards.
Plaintiff's
Camille
Exhibit
Vasquez is in the
1254.
30s, somewhere between like 35 and 38.
This is also a picture of you at the same
I've seen
event,
different
correct, Ms.
notes on
Heard?
that. She's
That is
around the same
correct.
age as Amber Heard.
Move to admit
But they're
Plaintiff's
two different,
Exhibit
again, two different
1254.
career paths, two different
All
styles
right,
of people.
1254 in evidence.
And I
Published.
think the youth element to
Just
it,
to confirm now that the
she
jury
comes
can
off
see
very
it,
young,
this is a picture of
and
you at the
that-
same event, the
and
night after
again,
Mr. Depp
starts off
allegedly
the
whacked you in the face so hard
cross-examination
you thought he
with
broke your
Amber
nose.
Heard. Very
This is a
defensive
picture of
Johnny.
me
Starts off with,
after
an
he did
audio
whack me in the
recording
face.
The
and
night
asking
after,
her
right?
like, "Oh, Johnny hasn't
Yes,
looked you
it
in the
is.
eye."
I believe
think
it was the night
partially
after,
addressing the PR statement from
Your nose doesn't appear
last
to be
week
injured in
where
any of
they're
these
saying
pictures,
you can't
does it,
even
Ms.
look her in
Heard?
the eye.
I'm wearing makeup.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
I'm wearing makeup.
And makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally, the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine. And for me, it wasn't that bad.
Objection.
I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
A picture you haven't produced or shown to
did.
this jury, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to. It's not my job.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes, that's fine.
And right now, she's grilling. She wants to see what Elaine Bredehoff knows about this picture. This alleged picture of her maybe broken nose, but probably not broken nose, given the testimony she's given so far. Yeah, I think her first 2 days of testimony, and then you throw in this cross-examination, man, like, look at this judge, man. She's just like, what's going on? Where's these pictures? What's going? Why is she saying that she got pictures? She gave it to you. You haven't given it to them. What's going on here? Elaine, give me the deets. Well, I don't know, Your Honor. Listen. I didn't tell her to say that she has the pictures. I ever seen the pictures. We gave all the pictures we have over to them. There's a lot of hunching shoulders here. It does feel like quite a bit of Amber Heard's testimony today has been her throwing her attorneys on this case and her previous attorneys on other issues under the bus, whether it's the attorney who reviewed the article before she wrote it. I think that's trying to go to, we'll see what ends up happening here. But again, like you see Elaine kind of pointing at herself and like, I don't know where it is. We've provided everything we have. Johnny Depp's looking at Mr. Ben Shue. This is again. I think Johnny's got a good team here, and it's not lost on me that especially if you watched Ben Shue's oral arguments on the motion to strike at halftime, as I like to call it, he came off with a lot of fire. He was ready. I'm sure people have seen the clips. he wanted to go down and fight, and he was ready to oppose that motion. So I have always been appreciative of attorneys who go ahead and they zealously represent their client, and they are their client's friends. And I actually, it was very much a style who I was as an attorney. I kind of look at this and I go, like, what's the plan here, Amber? Because her team could be very surgical about this, right? I don't know if it's her overriding her own team or her team saying, let's throw everything at the wall and see if it sticks. I think that's a mistake. That's not always the best strategy. Yes, when you're arguing before a judge, it can work, but when you're arguing before a jury, it having these alternative contradictory arguments doesn't always work for them. So very curious how her team handles this right now. It has been a lot of arguing here. I could actually just move this along.
To make sure that nothing, they couldn't see anything.
Your testimony was that you were checking in the car on the way to the event to make sure that there were no marks on your back.
Perhaps I misspoke or misunderstood. It was on the way back from it. Was after I was concerned. Concerned that there would be marks in any photographs since we were being photographed at Johnny's press event.
And you didn't show this jury a picture of you in that backless dress, though, did you?
I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry.
You didn't show this jury a picture of you at the Mordecai premiere wearing a backless dress, did you?
I haven't had the
By the way,
opportunity
if you haven't
to.
seen Mordecai,
I assume you have it.
it's kind of a
I do.
strange movie.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit
it's-
1256.
What's his name's in it? It's not just Johnny Depp, but also Obi-Wan
This is a
Kenobi's
picture
in
of
it,
you
and
Mr. Depp, or the back of
and that's
you,
also the movie. I
at the
think it's
Mordecai
movie where
premiere
he
in
met,
Tokyo, correct, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Paul Bettany.
Your Honor, I move to admit and publish
Paul
this
Bettany
picture.
plays like his
All right,
cool
1, 2,
button.
5, 6 in
I dig
evidence.
it. I didn't really dig the movie that much, but overall, I dug some of the characters. I like Paul Bettany as the tough butler. I didn't expect that out of him after watching him.
This is you in the backless dress at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, right?
That is correct.
You would agree that there are no bruises or visible marks on your back in this picture.
There's some tattoos.
No, not that I could see.
I'll show you one other photo. If we could please have Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257. This is a front angle picture of you and Mr. Depp at that premiere, correct?
That is correct.
Move to admit, nod on his island.
They're very
This is
different,
one of my favorite
in
points.
my opinion.
This is one of the points.
And yes, he is on the island.
Why are you taking
On
all these
vacation.
pictures of Johnny Depp?
We were on vacation, yes.
Let's also take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1092, which is also in evidence.
I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. We don't need this going that slow.
We also took this picture, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct. I did.
And this is another picture of Mr.
I like
Depp
his
asleep in a
little
chair.
His
No,
little
he was nodding off.
ponytail
Sleep is
thing, like his
different.
hair's
When you're nodding
not
off,
long enough.
you're
It looks
high
like
on
my
drugs.
niece.
Didn't even
My
feel the
niece
cigarette
has
in his
that.
hand
She
that
looks
had,
like a Teletubby.
been burning on his leg. It was cause for alarm for me, naturally, because I cared about him.
It's your testimony under oath that Mr. Depp is holding a cigarette in this picture?
He had been.
You seem to really like taking pictures of Mr. Depp while he's sleeping, don't you?
I hated it. I hated it.
Let's look at Defendant's Exhibit 1094, which is also in evidence.
The Festival of Ice Cream? Is it the Festival of Ice Cream? I think it's the Festival of Ice
You
Cream.
took this picture of Mr. Depp as well, didn't you?
I did.
I want
You
to know what kind of
decided
ice
to
cream
take a
that
picture
is.
of Mr. Depp asleep with ice
It
cream
looks like
spilled all over him, right?
coffee-flavored ice cream.
He was nodding
I'm
off,
down
and
for coffee-flavored
I was
ice
worried
cream is my
about
favorite type
how
of ice
bad the
cream.
medications and the
I
medication
also
change
can't
and the
eat
drug
dairy,
use had
so,
gotten, where he wouldn't even
but
fill
I am
ice
pro
cream or a lit
coffee-flavored
cigarette
ice
on
cream.
him, and it scared me.
So you took
Really?
a picture of it.
Yes, I wanted him to get help, and Johnny's surrounded by enablers who clean up after him.
Objection,
protect
Your
him.
Honor, I'm going to move to strike everything after yes, that she took this picture.
Still responsive here on it.
The question was, did you take this picture?
All right, I'll sustain
That's
the
how you do
objection.
a cross-examination.
This isn't a
Yes
very
or no
flattering picture of Mr. Depp,
questions?
is it?
No,
And if
it's
they
not.
over-ask,
You
ask,
wouldn't agree
hey,
that
Your
this
Honor,
is-
can we
or
strike
you would
the rest
agree
of
with
that
me that this is an
it's still
embarrassing scene, right?
responsive. Listen, Elaine, Y'all don't get to tell me what's
Yes, I
responsible
think it's
to
a
my
part of
question.
getting help is looking at it.
Just because you
seeing it.
guys answer,
But you
ask
sent this picture to one of your
open-ended
friends, didn't you?
I don't recall.
If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 252.
I remember when Rottenborn blamed him for the picture because
We'll only be looking at the portion of this document. So if we could please call it Defendant's Exhibit 252A.
252A.
And for ease, we've gone ahead and redacted it.
Yes, I was asking for support. That's correct.
There's no question yet, Ms. Hurd. So directing your attention, I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 252A.
Any objection? Any objection, Ms. Breda? Could you turn your microphone again? I'm sorry.
there's a button.
Thank you.
I need to see it first because I
Okay.
don't know what they redacted.
252.
We redacted the identifiers and anything that's not Ms. Hurd's
Up or down on
text
it?
messages. Consistent with hearsay.
You ready to we approach?
Okay.
I wonder if this is when Ben Shu put the sticker on the. There's a
Ms.
rumor
Hurd, does
that
this
Ben Shu-
refresh your recollection that you did in fact send this picture to your friend Rocky Pennington?
Yes, I did.
And you sent it to her on August 7th, 2014 at 11:24 p.m., correct?
That is correct.
So you sent
what
Ms. Pennington this picture of Mr. Depp with ice cream spilled on him, right?
That is correct.
And you wrote, quote, "This is what I've been dealing with," end quote. Did I read that right?
You did read that right. That's correct.
And this is you protecting Mr. Depp.
That is me getting support from my best friend.
This is you supporting Mr. Depp.
This is me getting support from my best friend. I also need support.
You weren't afraid the monster would get upset that you took this picture?
This was Opiate Johnny. This is a different version of him. This is Opiate on the Nod Johnny.
And you
I
weren't
wonder if she
afraid that
talks about him
Opiate
like he's
Johnny
a
or
moon
the
man.
monster, as you called him, would get upset that you sent this picture to your friend?
Well, he's all of those things. Of course he could get upset. Of course that's scary to me, of course.
Did
But
it stop you from sending this picture to your friend, did it?
why would it?
Why would it? make
Mr. Depp's
me worry
right
sending
hand is in his
this
pocket, right, Ms. Hurd?
embarrassing
In this
Yes,
picture?
that's correct.
You also showed this jury
My allegedly
pictures of
abusive
cocaine.
husband.
Do you recall that?
Yes, that's correct.
Please take a look at one of those. If we could please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 167A, which is already in evidence. Directing your attention, Ms. Hurd, to the photograph. This is a photograph you took in March of 2013, right?
That is correct.
And this was taken at your apartment in Orange.
Yes,
And this is your breakfast table.
that is correct.
And it's your testimony that Mr. Depp left this breakfast table just the way you took it.
That is correct.
So this is what the table
Ooh,
looked like
Coke
after
for
Mr. Depp had
breakfast.
been doing cocaine.
Well,
I
clearly
had
he has
Coke
yet
for
to
breakfast.
snort these lines.
Diet Coke.
There are 4 lines of cocaine on this table, right, Ms. Hurd?
Coke.
In this picture, I see 4 lines.
There isn't any cocaine residue around those lines, right?
Not that I can tell, no.
Doesn't really look like anyone's been doing cocaine off that table, does it?
With all due respect, I'm not sure you know how that works.
I'm asking if you do. You testified you've done cocaine.
I have.
Doesn't really look like Mr. Depp or anyone was doing cocaine off that table, does it?
I beg to differ with you on that. When you snort cocaine, typically it goes into your nose.
And there's
Doesn't stay on the
residue.
table.
There's residue from that cocaine when your lips and nose touch the table, right?
Well, the tampon applicator next to the driver's license that you see is a device that I believe my sister had taught him to use in order to put the cocaine in your nose.
Mr. Depp is a pretty heavy smoker, right?
He is.
And that's a cigarette in the ashtray in the back there? Back right?
Yes, it looks like one of his hand rolls.
There's no other cigarettes in that ashtray, are there?
I see 1 cigarette.
The one that's not smoked.
That's correct.
There's no ash in that ashtray either, is there?
Not that I can tell in this picture.
It's pretty clean.
In this picture, it looks like it, yes.
It's a pretty neat table. Wouldn't you agree?
Depends on what you would call neat, I suppose.
And you sent this picture to your friend, Rocky Pennington, as well, didn't you?
I sure did.
And when you sent it, you said, quote, "Look at my morning," or something like that. Is that right?
Yay for mornings.
So you have a habit of sending stage photographs to your friend Rocky, don't you?
I had a habit of communicating with my best friend about what was going on in my life.
You don't have any pictures of Mr. Depp actually consuming cocaine, do you?
I don't think I have a picture of him mid-snort. No.
You don't even have any pictures of Mr. Depp with cocaine.
What do you mean by that?
Holding cocaine, standing next to cocaine, sitting next to cocaine.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you haven't shown any of those pictures like that to the jury, have you?
I don't know. No, I haven't.
And you were never able to catch Mr. Depp with cocaine on film either, were you?
I never tried.
But you were able to catch him sleeping, right?
I have seen him pass out in all sorts of places, yes.
And you also captured a video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen that was played again for this jury today, beating up some cabinets. Do you recall that?
Sorry, say that again?
You recall capturing Mr. Depp in the kitchen of one of his homes, beating up some cabinets?
Yes. Slamming things around, yes.
So you took that video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen, right?
I did.
And you took it on one of your iPad devices?
I took it on my iPad.
You were deposed in August of 2016 in connection with your divorce proceedings for Mr. Depp, right?
That is correct.
And you will recall that the video of Mr. Depp in the kitchen was released online the day before your deposition in August of 2016, don't you?
That's correct.
You're the one who released that video.
Incorrect.
Isn't that true?
That's incorrect. I flew in from another place at the time. I remember learning about it when I landed.
So it's just a coincidence that the video you took of Mr. Depp was released the day before you were deposed in connection with your divorce from Mr. Depp.
I absolutely had nothing to do with that. I wouldn't even know how to do something like that.
You settled your divorce from Mr. Depp in August of 2016, right?
That sounds right.
And in connection with that settlement, you received $7 million from Mr. Depp, true?
That's correct.
And then
6.8, exactly.
Your settlement amount was $7 million.
That's correct.
And then you released a statement in which you claimed you would be donating the entire $7 million to charity, right?
That's correct.
You stated you would be donating half of the $7 million to the ACLU,
That's correct.
and you would be donating the other half to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
That is correct.
And you also stated, with respect to the $7 million divorce settlement, that money played no role except for the extent that you could donate the money to charity.
Yes, that's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1259. This is an article entitled Amber Heard Donates Johnny Depp Divorce Settlement to Charity. Read her statement in full. Is that correct?
That's what the title says, yes.
Directing your attention to the portion on the second page where it says, quote, read the statement below. Is that the statement you released, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit the statement and the article as redacted.
Objection, hearsay.
It's her statement.
This is not her statement. This is some.
She just testified, Your Honor, that it's her statement.
May I say the full?
Everything else is redacted.
Okay, then I have no objection.
All right, 1259 in evidence as redacted.
The statement reads, as described in the restraining order and divorce settlement, money played no role for me personally and never has, except to the extent that I could donate it to charity, and in doing so, hopefully help those less able to defend themselves. As reported in the media, the amount received in the divorce was $7 million, and $7 million is being donated. This is over and above any funds that I have given away in the past and will continue to give away in the future. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct. I don't remember that last line, but I have no... It doesn't stand out to me as wrong.
There's nothing inaccurate in the statement.
Not that I recognize, no.
Mr. Depp donated $100,000 of the divorce settlement directly to the ACLU. Is that right?
Right at the beginning of the divorce settlement, he donated $100,000 to each charity on my behalf or towards my contribution.
So $100,000
To each.
To the ACLU.
And to the Children's Hospital.
And in response, you publicly demanded that Mr. Depp pay the divorce settlement directly to you instead of the charities, right?
That was always the agreement, actually, is for him to pay me directly. It was not his money as per the settlement agreement to give away and reap a tax benefit from. I said if he wants to do it and give to charity all of a sudden, then he should pay the correct amount and not try to get a big tax break for it. So effectively for his tax bracket, he should be paying double that amount to the charity directly. And if he wanted to pay the charity directly, he could. He could do that, was fine with me, but he would need to pay the adjusted amount.
Ultimately, the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement was paid directly to you, right?
Over time, yes.
And Mr. Depp didn't end up paying the rest of the $7 million divorce settlement directly to the charities you identified.
That is correct. He paid the installments to me.
You stopped that from happening, didn't you?
I don't understand what your question is. I'm sorry.
You stopped Mr. Depp from paying the charities that you had named directly.
That is incorrect. I said if you want to pay the charities directly, pay the adjusted amount, or pay as per our agreement in the settlement or in the divorce, as per our agreement.
You also
and he chose to do the former, not the latter. I mean, the other way around.
You also publicly stated that the $7 million divorce settlement should be paid to the charities immediately in full, right?
If he wanted to pay it in the way that he was suggesting, yes.
And you said publicly that the payments to the charities should not be drawn out over many years, right?
I said that, I don't recall the exact words that I used, but basically that he shouldn't use this as a novel interest in getting a tax break, that if he wanted to do that and not pay me the settlement, that was fine, but he would have to pay the adjusted amount and not make it, a commitment he would not fulfill or try to avoid in some other way.
And that's because you wanted the entire world to think that you were donating every penny of the $7 million divorce settlement as soon as you received it from Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
No, I was going to be receiving it in installments, and I would be paying in installments the donations.
In fact, you released a statement in response to Mr. Depp's $100,000 donations to the ACLU and CHLA, didn't you?
I don't recall.
Let's see if we can refresh your recollection. If we could please pull up Plaintiff Exhibit 1260. This is an article entitled Amber Heard and Johnny Depp Row Over Divorce Donations. And if I could direct your attention to where it says, I believe it's on the second page, her spokeswoman responded in a statement. The language that follows the statement you released.
Objection, hearsay, spokeswoman, it's not her.
A spokesperson is an exception, Your Honor.
You want to come forward?
You released a statement.
Your Honor, may we approach again?
Okay.
Before we ask the next question, I'll just hand you a copy of this one.
I want to see it before you ask.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I said. Your Honor, would you like to see one as well?
No, that's right. That's fine. Thank you. Could you please turn your microphone on? I'm sorry, Ms. Brown.
I'm sorry. There's something, sir. Your Honor, they gave me a redacted, but I don't have the unredacted to be able to see the full document.
I plan to admit it, or ask that it be admitted in redacted form. I'm taking away any hearsay, and I'm just trying to lay the foundation. But this is a statement she released through a spokesperson.
How would I know whether there's more to it that shouldn't be redacted, Your Honor, if I don't see the full document?
Your Honor, the witness can testify as to whether this is a full statement or not.
The witness can't. We have the right to be able to see the document.
All right. Do you have a document that's not redacted?
We can pull it up on our computers.
Okay.
Just give us a moment, Your Honor.
Right.
I can represent this is the full statement that's reported.
Okay. Give her an opportunity to look at the unredacted one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry, Ms. Reynolds. May I approach?
Yes.
So, Your Honor, can we have a copy of this?
You can get a copy of that
Happily.
later
Yes.
today. Okay.
Right.
All
I mean, I think she should be giving us copies of the full.
Well, I
thing
understand.
before.
We'll take care of that. But
Okay.
as of right now, can we continue?
We can, Your Honor, but I have an objection because of there's some quotation marks missing.
Okay. Come forward.
All right. So directing your attention, Ms. Heard, where it says her spokeswoman responded in a statement. The language that follows.
Your Honor, again, she can't read it. She has to show it.
The language that follows.
Right. You do want to lay a
Is this-
foundation to that. Go ahead.
You released a statement after Mr. Depp donated $100,000 to the ACLU and $100,000 to CHLA, correct, Ms. Heard?
I think so, yes.
Okay. And the language that follows is the statement you released in response to Mr. Depp's donations, right?
I don't know if this is the official statement. I have no idea.
The statement that reads, starts
Objection,
at
Your Honor.
Amber Heard. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Would you please read that to yourself, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
Okay. Did you read all the way to the very bottom where the last word is supported?
Yes.
Okay. That's a statement you released through your spokeswoman after Mr. Depp made the donations to the CHLA and the ACLU. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I do not recall exactly what my statement was. I don't disagree with anything in the statement, but I just simply don't recall what the statement was we released.
Is there anything inaccurate in that statement, Ms. Heard?
No.
Okay. I'm going to move to admit.
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
I'll overrule the objection. 12-1260 in evidence over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Statement reads, Amber Heard appreciates Johnny Depp's novel interest in supporting two of her favorite charities, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union for Domestic Violence, and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. This is great and unexpected news. And it continues. However, if Johnny wishes to change the settlement agreement, we must insist that he honor the full amount by donating $14 million to charity, which, after accounting for his tax deduction, is equal to his $7 million payment obligation to Amber. And it continues. We would also insist that the full amount be paid immediately and not drawn out over many years. Anything less would be a transparent attempt by Johnny's counsel, Laura Wasser and Patty Glazer, to reduce their client's true payment by half under the guise of newfound concern for charities that he has never previously supported, end quote. Is on February 1st, 2018, right?
All right, 346 in evidence.
And actually were all kinds of accusations flying your way when you said all this, and then there was a divorce settlement, you got $7 million. People were saying this is all about the money, but then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States. It's called the American Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform.
Right.
And
well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never heard.
I wanted nothing.
This interview was in October of 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't recall when it was.
It was in 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't remember when this was done.
This was after you had received the full $7 million of your divorce settlement from Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
Again, without knowing when it was recorded, I have no idea.
The $7 million divorce settlement was paid to you in full by February of 2018, right?
That's correct.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is already in evidence. This is the deal point memorandum from your divorce settlement, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that's what it looks like.
Now, if we go down to the bottom of page 4, there's a heading labeled Equalization Payment. Do you see that?
Yes.
And underneath that, it outlines payment schedule for the divorce payments, correct?
Yes.
Well, it begins to. And if we go on page 5. So the first payment is scheduled for August 31st, 2016, and that's $200,000, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made that payment directly.
You got to turn your microphone, Ms. Berghoff. I'm not going to hear you.
Objection to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to.
Okay. He literally testified to it in court.
I'll overrule objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made the payment directly to the ACLU and CHLA, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And then the rest of the payments were all made to you, weren't they?
That is correct.
And the final payment of $2.3 million is on February 1st, 2018, right?
The final payment, yes.
And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule.
I'm going to object to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to.
I'll overrule objection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule, right?
I don't believe they were. He made a
That's not my
testimony.
question, Ms. Heard. My question was, you were here in court when Mr. White testified under oath that all the payments were made on schedule.
I was here every day in court. I heard his testimony, yes.
Okay. So back to October of 2018. This was before Mr. Depp sued you for defamation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018, right?
He sued me in 2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You agree with me?
That is correct.
And you hadn't yet been sued by Mr. Depp.
This is October, correct.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote. Right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it, right then.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety of the settlement, $7 million to charity, and I intend to fulfill those obligations.
That's not my question. Please,
What was
try to
your
answer
question?
my question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They
But
do
I
the same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question. As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything, and I didn't get anything.
You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it. I left Johnny, that's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
In general, one does want good press, yes.
You wanted to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name, and at the time, I was being called a liar, and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity reach.
You wanted to remind everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, you wanted to be seen, as a noble victim of domestic violence.
I have
didn't you?
never wanted to be seen as a victim. Nor have I ever called myself one.
You testified under oath that, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote, didn't you?
That's correct. I pledged the entirety.
No. Ms. Heard, my questions. Your counsel will have time to redirect you after. You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct. I pledged the entirety.
I'm going to move to strike everything after yes.
All right.
No. Ms. Hurt, this is really inappropriate.
I'll sustain the objection and we'll just move forward.
Thank
Let's
you.
move forward. Next question.
Under oath, that statement wasn't true, was it, Ms. Heard?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote. That statement wasn't true.
It is true. I pledged the entirety to charity.
The statement...
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay for the entire house at one time. You pay it
I'm
over
not
time.
asking, Ms. Heard.
All right. Next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But you didn't donate it.
Unfortunately,
You didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those
So that's a no,
obligations.
right, Ms. Heard?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities you pledged it to. Is that correct, Ms.
I disagree with your characterization of that.
Let's look at your sworn testimony from the UK.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ms. Vasquez, do you want me to close the shades? Okay. There's just light coming across then.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Must
It's
be a
probably
little
good light. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
This is your third witness statement that you submitted in the UK action, right, Ms. Heard?
Correct.
And the statement was made under oath, true?
That is true.
I'm directing your attention to the last page of that statement. That's your signature, right?
Yes, it is.
So you made the sworn statement on February 26, 2020.
That's correct.
And directing your attention to paragraph 4, it says, quote, I remained financially independent from him the whole time we were together, and the entire amount of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
The him you were referring to is Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
Most of the money that was donated to the ACLU and CHLA in your name came from someone else. Isn't that right?
I don't know what you mean by most of.
Well, at least $500,000 that was donated to the ACLU in your name wasn't paid by you, right?
I believe Elon made a donation in my honor on one of the years.
Yeah, and it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement, right?
No, nor did it count towards my pledge.
And at least $500,000 that was donated to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles in your name wasn't paid by you either.
Right, those were made at the same time.
And it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement.
Nor did it count to my 3.5 obligation.
Those $500,000 payments came from your new boyfriend, Elon Musk, right?
I don't know if he was a new boyfriend at the time.
You got him to pay part of what you promised to these two charities, didn't you?
Incorrect.
Because you wanted to keep at least some of the $7 million divorce settlement for yourself, right?
I'm very wrong about that.
I think this, if Your Honor's
Okay,
fine,
so
this is a good
this is a
time.
break point. Okay, that's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll stop here for the evening.
That I had said to date, and everything I've said to date now is the truth. And I was begging him not to make me prove it, that there were photos, that there were witnesses.
And at the time you sent this tweet, what was picture number 2?
Aquaman.
No, it's a fair fight. And Steve, how many people believe?
I don't recall if he said that.
One of the last times hasn't looked at you once this entire trial, has he?
Not that I've noticed, no.
You've looked at him, though, many times, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
You know exactly why Mr. Depp won't look back at you, don't you?
I do.
He promised you you would never see his eyes again. Isn't that true?
I don't recall if he said that.
One of the last times you ever saw Mr. Depp was when you met him in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That was the second to last time I saw him, yes.
And this was after you had publicly accused him of domestic violence.
I got my restraining order before that, yes.
And this is after you had obtained the domestic violence restraining order against him.
That's correct.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 1229. For the record, it's at 1101 through 1209. I'm going to ask that it be admitted into evidence.
Any objection to 1229?
Yes.
All right, 1229. You want to enter it in its entirety?
Yes, please.
Okay, 1229 entered in its entirety. Go ahead and play your section.
I don't understand. Is this what you want?
No. Oh no, a hug will save it all. All this, everything we just been
I
through.
just wanted to touch you.
Really? After all this shit you just said?
I just wanted to give
After
you
all
a
this
hug.
shit you fucking accused me of, you
Yes,
want to touch me?
please stop me.
Fucking,
Please stop.
you're fucking nuts.
Please, I just wanted to hug you to say bye. I didn't want to take it
No,
back.
we did that last night. It's fine. That was
Please.
good enough.
No, hold on.
No, because I'm nothing to you, and I will always be nothing to you.
Please, calm. Calm.
What? You're not my friend.
Your hands are hot. Please just calm.
No. No, you're in a fucking hole. No, we'll never see each other again. You won't even don't take my fucking glasses off. You don't like fucking looking at not my fucking eyes? You will not see my eyes again.
That's you and Mr. Depp in that recording.
That is.
And this is from when you and Mr. Depp met in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. That was...
So, I like I said, I liked how Camille handled it. I cannot wait for tomorrow. This has been the rumble in the jungle we've been waiting for the last week and a half. I think people showed up early today because they've been waiting for this. It's gaining steam. I want to know who plays Camille Vasquez in the movie or the Hulu series. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be the moment where she's the hero of the story. She's saving Johnny's rear end. And we will see. I think Amber Heard didn't do that bad, but she didn't do that bad except for the fact that, like, facts are real. Like, she didn't blow up. We started seeing a little bit of her getting agitated and upset, especially when you said the victim line. That really irritated her. That got under her skin. I've noticed that there's a pride element to Amber Heard. A thing that, like, I never quite, like... It's not something you typically hear, and like I don't like using it's not something I want to use as a term, but like again, people have like there's certain like personality disorders, and I don't want to say which ones that I don't think that she's actually been diagnosed with, but there's ones like that have been like that's kind of a thing where it's like there's a pride element. She always talks about getting slapped but not feeling hurt. She talks about not the victim. She's not the victim. I've never been a victim. It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt getting slapped. I didn't feel pain in any of this. It's a weird element of pride that I don't quite get. It sounds like how a dude would react to a lot of it, trying to maintain some machismo to themselves. And I think I think one of the big issues she's gonna have is that she's both trying to sell herself as not a victim but a victim, and that's. I think the jury is not going to buy it. I think that's the big weakness that she has. She's not, not to say she should lean into the victimhood, but I just don't, like, again, because you are fighting that weakness element to it, I think the humanizing aspect lost on people, and they might not believe that you are truly the victim here. And meanwhile, like, Johnny's leaned into it and said, listen, like, I'm not perfect. I've dealt with drugs, dealt with a lot of things. I was beaten when I was a kid. I should have handled this better. I got beat here. We did say a lot of horrific things to each other. But again, I think that at the end of the day, I can't wait to see what we get more out of tomorrow. It's going to be a telling day. It's going to be a telling day for Amber Heard's case. It's going to be a telling day for Johnny Depp's case. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I say this all the time, if you had asked me back when this case started, what were the odds Johnny Depp was going to win, I would have put it at 1 in 10. And now I think it's about 50-50 and maybe leaning more towards Johnny. And I don't know. And I think mainly because the jury's checked out on her. And the jury does, the jury's going to be given the law and everything. But a lot of times juries kind of like they'll end up mixing up the law a little bit. Not like, not to like a super big degree, but I think like the way the jury might weigh this evidence is she's a liar, pants on fire. We can't believe anything she said, so clearly she's defaming them. And how they weigh all the other elements might change. Did she intend to talk about Johnny Depp? Yeah, I think you did. 1 minute you're saying you didn't, 1 minute you're saying you did. It's very interesting to see how the jury will weigh out everything, and I cannot wait for tomorrow. So can't wait to see Camille Vasquez kick some booty. Like, follow, subscribe, and take care. I'll try to do another live stream where I'm going back over some of the hot takes. Maybe I'll actually mark up some notes later on, and have a good day.